Welcome to Red Hat's Financial Services Trends Talk. My name is Monica Sasso. I am Red Hat's Global Financial Services Digital Transformation Lead. I'm with my colleague today, Bruno.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bruno Zani. I'm part of the Global Financial Services team, also as Monica, and I work on technology strategy and the intersection of how our Red Hat technology and our partner technology can help solve business problems, which, Monica, you're going to talk about that on a very important topic around resilience, right?
That's right. And today, Bruno and I are going to have a little chit chat about digital sovereignty and resilience. These are two hot topics, and Bruno and I are both based in London. So we have the privilege of working with a lot of our British-based colleagues and clients, as well as EMEA and the rest of our important clients around the world as well. But this is our predominant home area. So quickly, cloud usage and digital transformation in general in financial services and insurance continue to be reshaped by emerging regulatory requirements around the world. I think I've said this every year for the last 3 years, and I'm probably going to continue saying that for the next 10 years, if not forever. Operational resilience has definitely been front of mind in recent years with topics like vendor lock-in, application portability, cybersecurity, concentration risk, all being elements of the different varying rules around the world, like the DORA Act. And as we've moved more quickly into this new generative AI world, the face of an ever-changing external environment has hastened conversations around digital sovereignty and what it means to each country, jurisdiction, and even firm. And equally, as the world becomes more reliant on technology and continues to digitally transform, which is, again, going to be forever and ever, amen, I think. Countries and regions are keen to protect their critical national infrastructure, their national security, and protect the data and privacy of its citizens, as well as their unique cultures. We see this as an opportunity to evaluate how sovereign clouds fit in with our customers' overall cloud strategy. Is their sovereign cloud merely another cloud? Is it independent? Is it private? Is it public? All of these things. And this is where we start to see some of these topics coalesce. And that's really what Bruno and I are going to have a little chat about today. So the first thing I'm going to cover is a little bit about what digital sovereignty means. You know, we all know it's here. It's going to be here for a while. How we got to where we are today. But essentially what it means is it refers to the ability to have control over your own digital destiny. What does digital destiny mean? It's the data, the hardware, and the software that you rely on every day and that you create. My favorite definition of it is actually from the Center for Africa and European Relations. It says it's all about protecting the physical layer, the infrastructure, the technology, the code layer, so standards, rules, and design, and the data layer, ownership, flows, and use. So it's all of those things that we rely on every day to run our businesses and in our own personal lives. And ultimately, all of these different regimes around the world, you've got them emerging in every country, in every region. For me, it's about the most simplest level. It's about the combination of data protection laws and rules, operational resilience, and critical national infrastructure regimes that are coming up around the world. And by that, I mean things like they already exist today in protecting our power plants, our water supply, our utilities, things like that. So a lot of these laws already exist. Now it's kind of putting them all together, and that gives us digital sovereignty and why that's a topic today. So why is it a topic today? Why is it in front of mind? I've given this talk before recently at a conference, and I said, why is it a dinner party conversation? And I joked that maybe I go to different dinner parties than some people. But I'm going to give you 3 examples, and then I'm going to hand over to Bruno to talk a little bit much more about the tech stuff, because that's his area of expertise. Mine is much more the business, and this is why we do we double team people sometimes, don't we, Bruno?
That's true.
So there's 3 examples, I think, as to why this is cropping up. The first one is where we're starting to see resilience bleeding into sovereignty in the shape of configuration errors happening. So, for example, there was an outage in Australia with a pension firm or superannuation fund, depending on where you are in the world, called Unisuper. Basically, somebody in Google committed a fat finger mistake and they deleted their account, which wiped them out totally. Thankfully, Unisuper had a backup in the 3rd location, so they're able to restore everything, including people's pension funds. That's a huge, huge thing. Imagine just all of it going away. The second example is where we're seeing geopolitics bleeding into technology with the immediate service denial of Microsoft for the International Criminal Court chief prosecutor. So sanctions were made it possible, or excuse me, oh gosh, I used the wrong word. Sanctions made it impossible for Microsoft, a US company, to discontinue its service, or rather, that's too many negatives, made it impossible for Microsoft to continue providing its Office 365 software and services to the ICC's chief prosecutor, who's actually of British citizenship. And what this meant as well is then that geopolitics, which bled into technology, also bled into the banking system, where the British government had to observe sanction laws, international sanction rules, and cut this guy out of his bank account, which means his family couldn't access the money too. And then the third example of why digital sovereignty is sadly a dinner party conversation for people like Monica. It's a conversation that we're hearing from a lot of our CISO colleagues and friends, is that cybercrime is reducing resilience. And we're starting to see this catch the attentions of different nations in the context of their critical infrastructure. So again, think about your power supply, right? Let's think about if you have any solar panels or inverters or batteries and what country they come from and where the listening devices are. And it's really a threat. And Estonia's Director General of Foreign Intelligence, Capu Rosin, he said the country is at risk of blackmail from China if it does not ban Chinese technology in crucial parts of the economy, such as solar inverters. Imagine somebody like that calling out such a little tiny but very important piece of equipment. That's why digital sovereignty is a topic for today.
That's right, Monica. And then it comes the question, how does Red Hat and open source fits in? So it is a fact that open source, the strategic enabler for digital sovereignty, because it promotes transparency. The community drives open source. No one really owns the code. It's available for everyone to extend, modify it, use it as they find it fit for their business needs. But at the same time, a lot of our enterprise customers, especially in financial services, they don't really want to maintain dedicated teams, maintaining that code base and evolving and patching and creating everything that is necessary to make open source work. It's not just taking the code, right? You need to build it, test it, certify it, keep your eyes on to check if there's security vulnerabilities, create support, test it against hardware. And there's a lot of effort that goes into. And this is where Red Hat comes in to provide the enterprise certification, all the ecosystem around bringing open source to an enterprise, so freeing our customers from doing all that heavy lifting. But it's still open source, the code is still available. And if there was any of these factors, geopolitics, etc., at play, the customers can continue to run the software. No one is going to really pull the plug. And that is a key differentiator between using a community version versus using something that is curated. So you will have less security risk by using the distribution that Red Hat supports, because we have dedicated security engineers and support engineers looking over this code. But at the same time, the customers do own that, and they could take it forward if there was any changes to the, let's call it, geopolitics factors.
Yeah, if you ever, Bruno, had a sanction put on you personally, you would not be locked out because essentially we could copy save as the open source code.
Exactly.
And
exactly. Yeah. At the same time, customers are doing hybrid. That's the reality, and that's how technology will keep evolving. There's still going to be elements of on-prem. Certain use cases are very well suited for traditional private cloud data centers, and some use cases are very well suited for cloud or multi-cloud. But then when you play in all these lock-in factors, costs, geopolitics, risks, etc., our enterprise customers are worried about keeping the options open. Let's put it that way. And Red Hat provides technology platforms like RHEL and OpenShift and all our AI ecosystem, and that allows you to, as a customer, to run workloads where they seem fit and move those workloads across cloud and on-prem and optimize and basically keep those options open. So this is really a differentiator, and it does mean that customers that move into the cloud that now are rethinking their cloud strategy and trying to redistribute a bit into different clouds or back to on-prem, we keep the options open. And this whole some talks about cloud repatriation, which is slightly separate topic, but it is a fact that customers probably done certain moves that wasn't really fit for certain workloads, and now they need options to move it back. And it's expensive and it's complex. So Red Hat is here to bring that optionality, and that's what we want our customers and partners to be aware of. And it's not to say that everything needs to run on top of Red Hat technology, but there's very good use cases, and we do have within our global FSI team the experience to help our colleagues from Red Hat and also our customers and partners to understand where does it make sense to use our technologies. Not sure if there was anything else to add, Monica.
No, I think you said it perfectly from a technology point of view, is that open source software gives you that choice and flexibility, which also sets you up for the future, right? And that choice and flexibility allows you to have cloud reversibility, application portability, all of these things that are actually elements of proving resilience, and then elements of the building blocks, if you will, of your own digital sovereign story. Very happy to continue the conversation. Very happy if you wanted to reach out to me on LinkedIn or email, or Bruno as well. We're both here to have this conversation. In fact, we have it quite a lot these days with our clients, helping them solve their problems in their context in whatever country that they're in, because all of those things matter. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.